We get most of China policy wrong in the United States. My colleagues are nipping at the heels of some of the problems here. I think there's three big categories in which we get these things wrong. Number one, viewing China as a military threat is absolutely incorrect. They're not about to invade us. The reason we're so afraid of them is because they want to project their own military power throughout the Pacific, and specifically Taiwan. And the reason we care about that is because we've made the mistake of signaling for 20 years and longer that we would protect Taiwan. And now we've got all this investment internationally and American in Taiwan. And now we rely on a number of Taiwanese companies for chips, and we feel like, you know, we're half into this, and now we need to protect them from being run over by China. If we had just stuck to our knitting starting 2 and 3 decades ago, we wouldn't feel so trapped into this silly notion that we need to be in a mutual protection alliance with Taiwan. It's just insane. The other thing that we get wrong is this notion that we're in some big economic competition with China. It's absolutely not true. The Chinese are after our intellectual property. That's a problem. It's a civil rights issue in the United States. We need to protect our citizens. And by the way, Chinese foreign nationals that are here, we need to protect them too. And we need to get into all the technological issues around that. But this idea that China is going to project power throughout the world because of their economy, I think is dead wrong. We now know that China is not even going to overtake us in terms of the size of their economy, much less the discretionary resources it would take to mount a military machine that would threaten us in any way, even in the Pacific. They are not going to reach our standard of living in a way that would give them discretionary funds to project sanctions or to form some type of economic alliance that is going to, you know, ruin our day by boxing us out. These things are just not going to happen. They have made horrific investments around the world in terms of their Belt and Road Initiative. They are all about 20th century technology. If I had to bet on an economy, as much as I'm pissed at the federal government of the United States, I would bet on us. They are doing everything wrong that you would want to have done in terms of developing an economy, from suppressing individual rights and creativity to reaching bad deals abroad to picking winners and losers. And by the way, doing a bad job of it. Even if you believed in socialism, you wouldn't want to bet on this government because they're just objectively speaking, not good at it. Like I say, the third thing that we get wrong is believing that we have an interest in preventing them from showing muscle in any of these regards. The big threat to starting a war in the Pacific is coming from the United States, particularly today, sending submarines into an area where, you know, it may be that that's where World War III begins, but we need to recalibrate our military projection to avoid these kinds of things. So I believe that our interests are wrong, and I believe our assessment of China is wrong, both militarily and economically.
China, or any other country really, could gain increasing influence over the United States' political system by buying up these industries.
Yes, free market, let them come and buy anything that they want to buy. I think that two things need to be said. Number one, I'm not sure that the way that our federal government works today is worth, fretting over protecting. I mean, what we're actually saying is our system works so well that we don't want the Chinese to come over here and ruin it for us. I think I'd be up for a little bit of chaos. But the other thing that needs to be said is that as much as we can all connect those dots, I'd like to actually see that in action, because most of what it is that they want to get done, they can get done electronically from Beijing, right? Yes, they can enhance their political influence by being here. By the way, just parenthetically, we already do this more than anybody else, probably by a factor of 50 around the world. whoever is in second place in terms of doing as much of it as we do, they are at least one and probably two orders of magnitude behind us. It's a little rich for us to be criticizing others in terms of trying to exert influence over a political process. I'd like to see it in action and worry about it as we see it play out.